Hi, my name is Shay Rath. I hope you enjoy this presentation on comparative cultures, Philippines. Shortly after my wife and I were married, we learned the office we both worked at would be closing. One of the options available to us was an assignment in the Philippines, and we saw this as a great adventure for two newlyweds. I'd like to tell you we did a lot of research before making the decision, but the truth is we just jumped in rather blindly. Some of the things we did to prepare ahead of time were talk to colleagues and friends who had been to the Philippines. We attended some company provided classes on safety and the local culture. We read online resources such as Wikipedia. We had to get 6 vaccinations prior to leaving. And of course, we had to inform our families and then say goodbye. We arrived late in the evening on October 17th, 2007, into Nino Aquino International Airport. Even though it was dark, it was terribly hot and humid. I remember wondering what the next day would feel like when the sun was out. This hotel would be our home for the first 3 months we were in the Philippines. During this time, we received a quick introduction to just how different the Philippines is compared to the United States. During our first week there, we experienced the first of many earthquakes, and within the first month there was a gas explosion at a restaurant attached to our hotel. We weren't in the hotel when this occurred, but we found out about it when we returned. It took about 3 hours for fire and safety personnel to clear the area so we could enter the hotel again. A few weeks later, there was an attempted military coup to overthrow the country's president. And just before we moved out of the hotel, there was a bombing at the upscale Glorietta Mall, which was just next door to our hotel. A few other odd events occurred, but we also experienced a lot of good times as well. On our first adventure out of the city, we took a long car ride south to Tall Lake. Tall Lake is on an island inside the crater of an active volcano. The unique thing about this place is that it's one of the few places in the world where there's an island on an island. We had to take a small boat across the bay, and once we arrived on the island, we were greeted by the people who live there. The picture shows the huts where they live. It was like stepping back in time. As you can see, there are no windows or doors on those huts. From the top of the volcano's crater, you can see the small island on the island. It's known as Vulcan Point. Here's a view from the top looking back towards the bay. You can just see it at the top of the picture. From this trip, we learned a lot about the slower pace of life outside of the big cities. The people who live here are not concerned about much of anything. They have something to eat and something to do, and that's about all they really need. I'm fairly adventurous when it comes to trying new food. However, most Filipino dishes I could do without. One dish I did like was chicken or pork in adobo sauce. It's made from soy sauce, garlic, and vinegar, and it's used to marinate the meat. It's delicious. There's a delicacy food that I couldn't get myself to try. Balut is sold on the street and is a special treat for Filipinos. It's a semi-developed duck embryo that you crack open and eat whole. The picture here is fairly tame, but if you're interested, you can watch people eat them in YouTube videos. One of the most difficult aspects of the Philippines is the stark difference between the wealthy and the impoverished. In the picture above, you can see the vast difference between the metropolis and the makeshift houses, which are referred to as shanties. These pictures give you a small glimpse into how truly impoverished a huge portion of the population really is. These homes they work hard to build can be washed away in minutes during one of the country's frequent typhoons. With all these adverse conditions, you might expect to see bitter or angry people in the Philippines. However, more often than not, I found Filipinos to have a we are stronger together attitude towards life. There are over 7,000 islands in the Philippines, although only 7 of them are populated. The national language is Tagalog. The islands were under Spanish rule for more than 300 years until the U.S. Navy defeated the Spanish fleet in 1898. U.S. ruled until the first presidential election in 1935. Therefore, English is a widely adopted language. The country is predominantly Roman Catholic, although the island of Mindanao has a large Muslim population. I'm able to apply many of the things I learned while visiting and working in the Philippines to my current position. We conduct business around the world on a daily basis in 27 different countries and over 35 languages. The experience I gained in the Philippines helps me to see things from different perspectives, and I have learned not to make assumptions. Someday we want to travel to the Philippines or other Asian countries with our daughters. We want them to see where we live and learn about the country and culture we loved. I think it's important to give them firsthand experience seeing the poverty and learn why it's important to be giving and understanding. Mainly, I want them to see the world from different points of view long before I have the opportunity to do so. To document my time spent in the Philippines, I have numerous passport stamps for the times we entered and left the country, as well as visa stamps. Thank you.